Hello and welcome to episode 170 of the Talking Wednesday podcast. It is Punk and Dex here for you today. We might be joined by a worko at some point. We actually have no idea. He could be lost on the toilet currently. What a way to start a podcast. But he was meant to be here 14 minutes ago. He is not. So we're assuming he has just got caught in the middle of something. So we are shaming him at the start of the podcast and watch it be something really, really bad now.
Yeah.
Now I've said that. Yes. But we were going to keep updated on it as we go.
We'll do a worko watch.
Exactly. But yes, it's been a while. I saw you in person last week. You gifted me this lovely microphone that I'm trial running for the first time, which is wonderful. We all use the same microphones now because my microphones are kind of set up for my vocal work and things like that. Whereas you guys definitely doubled down on the podcast mic space. So when I was editing, I used to have to edit to try and make us all balanced. But now that job should be a lot easier because we're all using the same setup. So
should help a lot more.
That's going to be really, really, really cool going forward. We obviously, if you couldn't tell in that episode, I was flagging. I'd done a lot of travel. I was falling asleep. But if you pause it in the right area, you can see where he's asleep because I did it. Yes. Yeah, pretty much. But I'm rested. I'm good. We are. We did a couple of Talking Net Wednesday extras at your house, which are hilarious to the point of like.
That's so
Jack.
good.
Jack
nailed it.
Yeah, so we're doing this thing with Jack, and I'm going to put them up back to back, and I'm going to put them up at the end of this week because we're behind again. Surprise, we're behind again on the Talking Wednesday extras. So I'll put those two out pretty much a day after each other, and they are worth £5 alone because Jack is just unhinged.
I don't think we laughed that much while doing an episode in a long time.
Yeah.
Because we just couldn't, he just couldn't stop.
Well, I remember saying to you both, I've got no energy left to do like another podcast or something. Let's just do a comedy-based, FIFA-based, whatever we want sort of thing in Talking Wednesday Extra. And it turned out great. But then I remember Jack, even before camera, when we were setting it up, we were rolling round on the floor laughing because he was so unhinged to the point of probably Jack verging on cancellation before we stood the cameras because when he gets into a character, he just goes.
He nails it though. When you give him a brief, I need you to be this, and this. He does it.
Yeah.
It's like the video. It's like the video he did for my channel on the speculation stuff. I didn't ask him to do that. He just did it to cheer me up, and it's so funny.
No, to be fair, yeah, no, it's good. But anyway, how's your week been, mate?
It's not been too bad apart from today. I've got the annoying brown letter thing. If you know anything about like disability stuff, you get a letter, you have to fill forms in. It basically to make sure you get what you're getting. And that came today, so it's thrown me off kilter a little bit. Apart from that, it's been good. It's been good trying to plan things in here and just, when you had that bit of clarity in a week where you're like, this is what I want to get done. You make a list, you get it done, and you fly with it. And it's been that kind of week where I've just been getting a lot of stuff done. Doesn't help when you've got both kids at the same time, but I'm trying to fix things so when it comes to October, when I'll have to go back to work again, I can have things set up that I can still do videos or on a fly do stuff where I'm not have to be chained down here. So it's like this area will be mini baby crash to a point.
Right, yeah.
But I'm also doing it where, as we both mentioned when we were here, it's amazing how good the cameras on these are now.
I don't understand because like the just the picture quality, right? The stuff I've got, to be fair, the camera I've got, it's really good for close-ups.
Yeah.
So I got it for when I've got a brilliant lens for it, which I don't currently have on. Is like I've got a proper bokeh lens for it and stuff, which is fantastic when I'm doing like cinematic stuff. But the you guys have kind of got one that's just plug in and go, and it's just beautiful. So I am tempted to one day invest in that just to have it static and then use my other one for other stuff. But the one thing with DSLRs is they aren't cheap.
No.
This lighting setup's still not what I want in here. So
the thing I want in here as well, because I have this set up here, but I like sitting back there and doing videos because it's more chill. And it's a royal pain in the backside having to take this off, put it down there, do again. And it's just one of those things where I think down the line, I'll pick up a second camera body, because then when we do an episode in person, no one has to bring anything. Everything's here. We're all set.
Well, the problem we have, I really don't like the setup we had last time with Jack, because the problem we have is using the two different cameras and then the lighting sort of thing. If I'd have been more awake, I'd have white balanced everything and made sure those cameras were balanced. But we have that room, if you've recorded from different angles, there's different light coming in from different angles. So I do.
To be fair, there is different light. That's something else that's happening. There's going to be different light going in here at some point. A lot of in here is just trial and error till I get it right. It's always been the case of, this is a space where I can record, but then at a drop of a hat, if we need to do something, it's there, it's available, it's ready. And
well, I think you could potentially even fit like a third chair in the middle of us, and then it's a case of, I think we'd be able to do the podcast a bit easier that way.
Yeah,
we could all just
definitely. How's your week been?
Yeah, obviously I kind of went off with that at the start. It's been, picking up on the back of that. I've had a few days off work. I'm about to have 6 weeks of solid work. So, but with the Euros in the middle of it. So hopefully I'll be able to have a little
question for you.
Go on.
Do you think FIFA 2K is going to be a flop, or do you think it's going to be one of those slow burners where it gets better over time? Because we do need another competitor, since
I think it'll do well purely on the name alone, and I think it's one of those things that people will pick up and go, "Oh, there's a FIFA game, brand new FIFA." And I think a lot of people, actually, a lot of people who don't really know video games, this is the problem that I thought EA had from the off, is if you've got a game that says FIFA 2K25 or whatever next to EA Sports FC 25, people will go, "Oh, well, they want FIFA, so I'll pick them up FIFA."
Yeah.
And they'll actually, people who are going into the shops will pick up the wrong one, basically.
And I think you're going to have a lot of people. You're going to have
It depends on the licenses.
Exactly. That's the thing. If the licenses are right, it could be really game changing. But the thing is, what EA should now do, now there's a proper competitor, no offense to PES, that hasn't been a competitor for years. It's not even called that anymore. It's called eFootball. What they should do is reach out to the lower leagues and go, right, we're scanning all your stadiums in. Then that gives people the thing.
Here's the thing. Straight away, FIFA went with, EA went with the lower league stuff. You saw Wednesday say we're in the game. They've got all of the English leagues. They've got all of that sort of thing. What you will see now with FIFA is 2K will get licenses from certain leagues. So it will cripple part of EA's market in that aspect, in the realism aspect. FIFA obviously have image, because there is some teams that share and don't give exclusive rights to things.
Barca.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where it depends on the exclusivity contracts and how long they are with EA. Because say if the they're not exclusivity contracts with like the championship, things like that, and 2K going hard to like the English football system. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they were down. I don't know if Wrexham Stadium's already in there. It possibly is. But
I think it was. I think they got put in, but I don't think the stadium got put in.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't be surprised to see people start sniffing around like the bigger sort of like.
I'll put it this way:
clubs and things.
If 2K put Wednesday in, that means you gone from EA. If the gameplay,
yeah, well, I'll get both, but yes,
Same.
It depends on the gameplay as well. If the gameplay's better, then maybe, but. It's more of a case of just the general grind system, but 2K, we've got to say, are notoriously worse for microtransactions.
Yeah, they are worse than others, because we have the wrestling game franchise a lot, and the amount of times you have to have certain microtransactions to do certain things, it's ridiculous.
They are more pay to win, because they will literally put a player that is really good and they'll charge like 30 quid for the player or something. I've heard they did that with certain like basketball games or whatever. Oh, you can get this player, but it's 30 quid. Stuff like that. I wouldn't be a fan of that.
I think it'll be interesting. Also, I saw that you're potentially selling your PlayStation.
Oh, mate. I watched that showcase last night and I was like, what? It's not plugged in. It's collecting dust. There's nothing for the PlayStation 5. And I'm saying that as someone who got both consoles back when I had considerably more money than I've got now.
Also,
and I'm just like,
watching November, the sales drop because COD's exclusive on Xbox Game Pass.
It's not exclusive.
It's not exclusive, but people will go, hey, I can have the new COD with Game Pass for 13 quid a month. All right.
Yeah.
They'll go up.
Yeah, I reckon that's going to be a thing. Xbox are going to start putting their games on PlayStation as well. But for me, I got the PlayStation for the first parties. I loved Horizon. Not actually got round to God of War yet.
You got it?
No. Have you got it?
I don't know. I think I have. And I think I got it
on digital though.
No, I think I got it on disc. I'll have a look.
Got it on disc. Post it me because I'll play it.
Yeah.
I'm not playing it. But yeah, it's one of those things where I was waiting for. They obviously they dissolve pretty much Days Gone as an idea. I really like that on the
love that game.
PS4. The Last of Us and stuff like that comes. The Uncharted. There's rumors that a new one's coming out following the. Actually, I'm not going to say that because it gives spoilers for Uncharted 4. But basically a bit of a reset with Uncharted is potentially coming out. But it's a case of the few and far between games are coming now. Insomniac are purely working on stuff like Spider-Man and Wolverine. And it's just, in terms of gaming, I'm like, eh. Yeah. Whereas I've played a lot more. I can't believe it. I can't believe I'm saying this, but with limited time and stuff, I've become more of a live service person recently in terms of newer games. Like, rather than buying newer games, I'll play Fallout 76 and do my challenges. I'll play a bit of FIFA.
I hate to admit this.
But then I'll play my strategy turn-based games all the time.
Same. I've got the same thing because I don't have the time anymore. And I hate live service games. It do my head in, but they're very handy when you've got no time.
Yeah, but also you can get in, and when you do have a bit of time, like I've had some time this week, I can catch up on sort of like the proper stuff. And it's not good, actually. It isn't good because it's a time sink and live service. FIFA's a bad live service because it just resets every year. Whereas stuff like Fallout 76, you feel it builds. So you feel like your time is worth it. But that's probably enough gaming talk. This episode's going to be quite long anyway. And we've not heard from Jack.
I have. He should be coming in. He got stuck in traffic.
Jack is here.
Hey!
Welcome. Only 33 minutes late. How are you, Jack?
Well, let me tell you a tale. The tale of why I was late to this podcast episode. So it started off, text at 10 a.m. Oh, yes, your Argos delivery is ready. And you want it collected, yes? Well, come within the next couple of hours and you can get it for free. Haha. Or whatever. There was like a voucher for the next, anyway, whatever. So I'm like, okay, that's easy. Couple of hours, I can make it back in time for the podcast. It's only 15 minutes away from where I live, where I have to go to pick it up. So I go to pick it up. In the time that I was in there in the Argos, waiting for my order to get it collected or whatever, ready for number whatever the hell, there's a Tesco just down the road. A big Tesco. Oh, they couldn't access the loading ramp. Oh, that's okay. We'll just park right next to a whole bunch of roadworks that were on those temporary automatic traffic lights. Yes, great idea. Let's park right next to those and start unloading all these goddamn pallets and all this, that, and the other for the shop. Yes, great idea. Let's just cause gridlock traffic in a major town right off of the both one of the dual carriageways in the East Midlands, and also the M1. Great idea. What a fantastic idea. Let's just delay everybody for literally half an hour while you unload everything and stop all semblance of traffic moving for so long. And so here I am, after waiting in Argos for an hour for them to come and actually find the thing that I went in there for, and now I got delayed again. And so now I'm late. But yes,
you know what
apart
we
from that,
said
I'm
about
okay.
him being unhinged on the Talking Wednesday Extra episode?
Yeah.
James.
Yeah.
So that,
Just a preview.
this is how I can get.
It was
Bear in
quite
mind,
scary when he was sitting down to set up his microphone, as in like, it was like, oh, he's very angry today.
Yeah.
I think it was also because he knew that we'd probably tear him a new one, but we've been quite nice.
Yeah.
And, yeah. We were debating. We were like, if he's late because he's been to the gym, then we will tear him a new one. But if he's late because of a genuine
circumstances out of my control, yes.
We generally thought you'd done a Elvis Presley.
An Elvis.
James knew what I meant.
I got that straight away.
Oh, died on the toilet. No. I'd unalived myself by straining too hard when I was pushing out a big fat Cleveland steamer. No, absolutely no.
Anyway, this podcast, we're like 15 minutes in and it's not actually started. Right. So
no, we haven't done anything yet.
We are going to get
like
into the
Wednesday, the
Sheffield
transfer
Wednesday
window.
talk. And it's going to be a long one today. So we're going to be here a while. The big news. Danny Rohl has extended his Owls contract. This is from the Wednesday website. We are delighted to announce that Danny Rohl has signed an extended long-term contract with Wednesday. The German manager masterminded a memorable route to the championship safety after joining the Owls in October of last season. Having steadied the ship in the months that ensued, Rohl oversaw 4 wins and 2 draws in the last 6 games to secure second-tier survival. The Owls ended 2023-24 in 20th place and second in the championship form table. Rohl has now put pen to paper on a new contract at Hillsborough ahead of the 2024-25 season. Owls chairman Des Chansiri said, quote, I am delighted that Danny will be continuing his managerial journey with our club. The impact he made when he joined was immediate and was a foundation for preserving our place in the championship. He has forged a special relationship with our supporters in the short space of time he has been here, and now this journey continues. The hard work preparing for next season is already underway. It was important to secure Danny's services on a well-deserved new contract, and I am delighted that this is now in place. Rohl said, quote, I am delighted to extend my contract with Sheffield Wednesday. This is a fantastic club that has taken me to heart, and I feel exactly the same way. It was never in my mind to be anywhere else but Hillsborough. I feel at home here. The fans have been incredible. They have shown myself and my staff nothing but kindness since the first day. I would like to thank the chairman for giving me this opportunity, and now we are excited to look forward and can plan ahead together for the new season. The way we finished last season was amazing. So much hard work came to fruition, but we do not stop here. We must continue to show the same effort levels and desire for the future. The chairman is ambitious, I am ambitious, and our fantastic supporters are ambitious too. End quote. Now, me and Jake both did videos on this because we knew we wouldn't have a podcast talking about it near the time. But Jack, we'll go to you first. Danny Rohl, Sheffield Wednesday 2027 is to believed his contract length is too. How do you feel?
Well, I hate to say I told you so, but in my own video that I did before he'd done this and saying like, of course he won't leave. Don't be stupid. Stop believing the PTSD that's in your heads from when Darren Moore left and Steve Bruce left, because that isn't the case. And clearly, it isn't the case. And I couldn't be more delighted, to be honest. It feels like there's a plan. And I keep getting thrown off by how deadpan Jake was just staring into the camera there. It was very, I could just see it out the corner of my eye.
Yeah, anyway, Jake hasn't. The one thing Jake hasn't mastered. I've kind of got good at this. I nearly said I've got kind of good at doing it with one hand there. I've got kind of good at putting things into the document with one hand and keeping my eyes on sort of the camera where it usually is. But when Jake puts something into the document, he just all his focus goes to that.
It just goes.
I was just speaking, and then I just saw out the corner of my eye this face of Jake going. And I thought, oh no, it's the Undertaker. I'm about to start hearing bongs. But anyway, sorry, my thoughts on Danny Rohl. Yes, I think there's a plan, and there's finally a plan. And actually, it sort of feels like Chansiri's listening to somebody now and isn't just telling them to sod off. This is my club, yada, 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 that we've heard before. It's like he's actually listening to maybe even a different advisor. We don't know, but it feels like something's different now. And it's nice.
I feel like it was the most obvious decision ever. And like, even if he tried to mess it up, he just struggled to mess it up. It would have to be catastrophically bad if he messed it up. And I think it was good timing where, you know what's really weird? I have never known an end of season where so many championship managers are out of work. Or so many clubs don't have a manager. And it's really odd that it was linked with everything. Like Sunderland, they're 100 days now without a manager. And he was heavily linked there. But I think the great thing about this is that I know it's a dirty word in the Chancery era, but it seems like there's a plan. It does actually seem like there's something actually going to happen here and it's going to go forward. And the thing, this is the only statement we've heard from Chancery near the end of the season. Well, he normally does a thank you for the season, blah, 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 blah. Haven't had that this season. I think his time when we were in League One, that's the chairman we need.
Yes.
Because it worked better.
It did. He supported the manager when he needed to support the manager.
Yeah.
But other than that, he kept quiet.
Yeah.
And that's what he needs to go forward with Danny. This is brilliant. This is one of those things that we needed to do. We needed to have the belief. Everything that was said, players talking about, they were waiting to see what the manager would do. The fact that we've kept hold of him really gives me a good feeling for next season. And obviously they've talked about Danny Rohl wants top 10 next season. And I think that makes perfect sense. I think
doable.
Optimistically, I don't want to do it, but like if you bring in the right sort of players, Danny Rohl, then it might not click the first season, but bloody hell, I reckon we could be onto something. You know, so it's a situation where let's just say this. I'm still not looking forward to the Sheffield derbies, which I can't believe I'm saying, but I'm much more looking forward to them knowing we're going to have a Roll side face them because we've got much better of a chance than we would have had with.
And they're starting on minus points.
And they are starting on minus points, yeah.
How does it feel? Anyway, yes.
But yeah, it's fantastic. The one thing I will say is the compensation in the contract. We don't know much around that. It was highly suggested that there would be a lowering of compensation for a longer term contract. So it's probably wages increased, longer term contract, lower compensation.
Yeah.
But what would you think it is? Because my gut feeling would suggest that the compensation will have probably remained similar for championship clubs. But I reckon if a Premier League club wanted him, they might have knocked it down a couple of million, or maybe he's raised it for the championship, kept it at the same for Premier League clubs. What do you think on that, Jake? Because for me, it's almost like you can't lower the compensation too much. You've got to give him that opportunity to say, Danny, we're not going to hold back your career. You either grow with the club or you have opportunities elsewhere. You've got to give him that when he's a promising young manager. But you've also got to protect your own assets.
I think it's low if a German club comes in for him because he's made it very well known he does want to go back to Germany and manage, which makes sense.
Okay.
He's also turned around and said he doesn't ideally want to manage in England again after Wednesday. In an interview, it was something he said in Kicker. He kind of said, I'd rather not. I think it was something like, I'd rather not manage in England again if you know, like how Klopp has said he never wants to manage an England club again.
If he was our Klopp.
Yeah.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
No, but I think there is a thing where he has turned around and said that he'd rather manage in Germany again. And I understand if you're going to do a new contract, you have to think about the club and you have to think about the person you're hiring with the new contract. And when it originally came out saying 5 and 10 million, a lot of people went, that's ridiculous. But then you look at where Vince and company gone, they should pay 12 million for him.
That's the thing. I think if Danny Rohl was here for a couple of years and he got us promoted to the Prem, I reckon Bayern would be sniffing around him if he got us promoted because of the style. I think he would be a perfect fit for them, and I wouldn't begrudge him if he got us to the Premier League. But yeah.
I think it's an interesting bit kind of thing.
Yeah, I think I remember reading that Kicker article and I was like, oh, yeah, when's the Star going to catch up? When's the when are the English news outlets going to catch up with that? Because I think it was him. I think the Kicker obviously released the article, the German publication, and then I think that was the original. They've got
quite a few scoops, the German papers, haven't they?
They did that. They did that when he got the job originally.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
And I think it's probably. I mean, look. I think I remember reading that in the Kicker as well, and I think that's very fair. Like, it's not a slight on him or I don't know. I think Jake's just summed up my thoughts very well actually there, so I don't really know what else I can add.
And I will move that on to, in the same topic, the Chris Powell situation. He has not signed a contract. A contract yet. I was watching, and I don't know if you've all watched this in its entirety, but I watched the No Tippy Tappy Football podcast yesterday with Powell on there. Have you watched it all, boys, or have you just watched the clip?
Watched it all.
I watched about 3/4 of it, and I was like, I just found it really funny that all the marketing for the episode was all based around his Sheffield Wednesday experience, and he talked about Wednesday for about 5 minutes, and then everything else was about Well,
that was clever though. But it also made sense for the England episode because he was part of the England setup. Sam Allardyce was an England manager for our game, and things like that. So it made sense. But I think with Powell, we can talk about what we saw because it's very fresh in my mind. I remember him saying he's got to thank Wednesday because Wednesday changed his life, and he actually said it saved his life in many ways. He had a bit of a health scare that he wasn't really going to go into, but then he came to Wednesday, and the feeling we got from that was he just talks about how much he's bought into the club, right? And seeing that made me so happy to think, no, he gets it. And he talked in it about how he said to Danny Rohl, he obviously had a little sort of a middle person in before he spoke to Danny Rohl about becoming the assistant. He said he got a good feeling when he spoke to Danny, but he did say sort of off the cuff, it'd be a miracle if we achieved this. No club's ever done it before, sort of thing. So they knew what they were walking into. But he just talks about how he's bought in and he loves the way the fans support the club, and he's got really fully involved with that. And he doesn't see himself going back into management at all. He loves what he does. He's got his priorities right in terms of his family and stuff like that. And just watching this interview just made me think, there's no way we don't sign it, because him and Rohl, that setup there. He talks about the different personalities in the squad, that in the coaching staff, that everybody's different, but it works. And I think we've seen that. That's been evident for me, Jake.
Yeah, definitely. And I think for me, it's interesting how you've got so many different personalities, but they all fit in a weird way, kind of thing. And what I got from it is there's something that happens with players and staff alike when they've been at Wednesday. They seem to always become a fan after their time here. Yes. It's like when he turned around and said, what's this place going to be like if we get this right? They just lost 3-0. And they're clapping us up. And I think you could see when he said it, he was like going, that's not normal. When you lose 3-0, you get booed or you get abuse. And he didn't get any of that. And I think the way we took to him, the way the fans he took towards it, I think the entire setup fits. And it's probably only 1 or 2 people missing now where it's perfect to what we need. And the thing is, like, people are already saying, is with Danny's contract, does that mean the rest of the people in it have got it? Because you got to remember, they were till 2025 as well. I don't think Danny signs a contract if his backroom staff ain't getting the same deal.
Yeah, I think it's got to happen. And do you think it's essential that it happens, Jack?
Oh, definitely. I think he's essential to that backroom staff. I think it's quite clear to see if you remember back on some of the results and stuff, when there's been wins, one of the first people that all the players kept running over to was Chris Powell. It wasn't Danny, it wasn't Henrik, it wasn't Tomo, it was Chris Powell. They made a beeline for him to go and give him a gigantic hug or whatever. And I just think he's so integral to the morale aspect of the team. And I think it's so integral that he's part of the backroom moving forwards. And I think it would have been such a colossal loss if he didn't sign the contract. And it's interesting, the wording that he uses, and I know this is looking at it with like a magnifying glass, but he says, I will sign it, whether it's 1, 2, or even 3 now years. I will sign it. So while he's not officially got it yet,
just give him the bloody contract,
like
Chansiri.
Yeah, exactly.
Basically,
it's
the team we've formed there. Danny signing was the crucial one, and I think he even sort of alluded to that.
Yeah,
everything else should fall in place, and that brings us on nicely to the players. So we've got people we've not heard about any contracts being signed yet, which doesn't fill me with any worry actually, because Barry Bannon, who's pretty much a nailed-on person to sign a contract, hasn't signed a contract yet. So I assume it's going to get done in the next week or so. I think we'll be hearing about it there. We're still obviously waiting for Barry Bannon, Dawson, Dijon Bernard, Dominic Iorfa, Liam Palmer, Will Volks, and Josh Windass. Are there? Because for me now, I'm slightly more confident on Bernard, but I'm still not fully confident. I think because it's one of those things, it's like maybe he has had a think now Danny Rohl's staying and he's seen the direction. Maybe the offers haven't come in the same way. There was obviously talks of him going to the likes of Ipswich and stuff like that. We weren't just saying that based off nothing, actually. We sort of like heavily hinted that, but there was interest there. But in terms of those players, Jack, do you think they'll all re-sign, or do you think there'll still be a couple that think, nah, I need to move on now?
Well, I mean, my little theory about Dijon Bernard re-signing is getting way higher in a probability scale is because he's literally been on holiday with Josh Windass. And I think if we know that Josh Windass was making so many like love gestures towards the Wednesday fans and all of his highlights of his goals and all that sort of stuff on social media, I think he's been in Bernard's ear and has been selling him the dream of re-signing, look where we're going, this, that, and the other. And I just wonder if a lot of them were waiting for that confirmation of Danny. And also, like, they're all on holiday. So, of course, nothing's going to get done while they're all on holiday. All on holiday, you know? So, it'll probably be the next week, and then I reckon I can't see many of them saying no, I guess.
I can, but I'm interested to see if Jake, who do you think all of them will sign?
Only one, the two, I don't think. Bernard, I'm getting confident and with as well. If you looked at what he posted today, he was doing a workout all in Wednesday training gear. Granted, I know some people have said, oh, it's just the training gear that he used. He could have used any club though, because a lot of them keep their training gear after they've been at other clubs because it's there. It's close. Remember when we used to see Fortieri training at new clubs still in Wednesday gear kind of thing? Yeah. It's what happens. Bannon, yes. Dawson's the one for me.
That's the one I was going to say as well.
Dawson signs. I think Dawson needs either reassurance he's going to be number one,
which he shouldn't be because he's not been this season. We brought in another keeper.
Exactly. The only way he actually carries on being at Wednesday is if him going, it's a boyhood club, I'll come on when needed kind of thing. For me,
if he accepts that he's going to be the bench keeper and the cup keeper, that's the thing. And I don't think his ambitions stop there when you look at the likes of Wildsmith.
Yeah, I think if he wants to move on, he got to go. Is he only 28, 29?
28, I think.
Right. So keepers normally get good when they hit 30 and they can go on till the 40.
I think that's a bit old. I think that's a bit old hat now.
You still see it though. You still see them go.
You do, but I actually think because they've started playing out the past 10 years, people have started playing out from the back a lot more. You're seeing younger keepers become more confident, and it's not their shot stopping gets better, yes, but younger keepers have become more of a thing because the older keepers. I think it might become a case in a few years when we get these. Think of the likes of Beadle when they get to their 30s and they've got the shot-stopping experience on top of being able to play out from the back. We might start seeing goalkeepers becoming a much harder position to get into if they can do everything with the feet and they're that good. But Dawson, I'm just thinking for likes, Birmingham have got Ruddy, but Ruddy's obviously going to be retiring at some point. You'd think that those sort of teams, Dawson could go and be a number one for.
Oh, definitely. I think the other thing you've got as well is Dawson in League One can play out with his feet. We've shown that. He was the best out of the ones we had who could play out from the feet. I think Championship's just a little bit quicker. And the interesting thing with Pierce Charles, there were times where he played outfield and not in net. He played like in midfield. So he'd done that kind of side of it. That's the only one where I kind of go, is his head or heart? If his heart doing it, he's signing for Wednesday. If his head doing it, he's off.
Yeah. And I think everybody else is sort of signing as squad players, apart from Bannon.
Yeah.
I think Bannon will still start. And Bernard, obviously.
Windass is still a little bit interesting, though, because he did say, once I know what's going on with Danny, he wanted Danny to stay, didn't he? He turned around and said that. I'd be interested to know with Windass, because as much as, I don't know if you guys will agree or disagree with me on this one, I like the idea of when a player hits 30, it's 1 year contract with possibly an option on top. Once you hit 30.
I'm a 1 year with a 1 year extension after 30. If they've got an injury record, that depends.
I'm not 100% sure if Windass would like that, if that's what we offer.
He probably wants 2 years, doesn't
he?
You'd think. Which, for me, depends what his wages are. It depends, because obviously they're probably going to be slight wage rises included in the contracts as well. So there's a lot to consider with that. I don't think we should take the mick, but I also think Windass has shown to be a big game player, but it's a difficult. Windass has been a difficult one for me for a while because he's got the quality, he scores goals, he knows what he's doing, but it's also a case of
injury record.
That's it. That's the one. Because you need other players around it. You can't, if you keep Windass on and he's on a fair chunk, you can't use that money on other players.
No,
which I know sounds basic, but it is the case if you don't have as strong depth as you could have. Because you could have that. I think say we sign Ugbo, but then we sign, we've got Poveda. Maybe Poveda works with it. If we get Poveda and Windass, they're both injury prone, so hopefully they'll rotate their injuries. Maybe we'll use in the same position.
I like that they can rotate their injury.
Yeah, it might work. You might get one player out of it.
You know what? Right, that's a very Wednesday thing to happen as well.
Yeah, no, they'll get injured at the same time, mate. They'll both be fit at the same time and injured at the same time. That will be the Wednesday thing to happen. But we are going to move on to the fun bit of speculation season. Yes. It's not just speculation, though.
Oh, Sharon! Sorry,
it's not just speculation.
They're talking about speculation again, Sharon.
There is links here with the speculation, and this is from the Star. It reads as follows. Brentford defender Charlie Goode is a name that could be considered as an option for Sheffield Wednesday this summer. The 20-year-old will leave the Bees at the end of his current contract when it expires at the end of June, and the Star understands that his name is one that has been mentioned at Hillsborough as a possible incoming. Goode joined Brentford for a reported 7-figure fee in 2020 from Northampton Town, however struggled to nail down a regular spot at the club and has since spent time on loan at the likes of Sheffield United, Blackpool and most recently Wigan Athletic. He missed the last 3 games of the Lactic seasons for personal reasons, but before that had only been absent for 3 matches during his loan spell that started back in January. In total, he played 13 times as he achieved a mid-table finish in League One. The defender will have a plethora of options this summer as he weighs up where the next chapter of his career will play out, and it's thought that a switch to Danny Rohl's Owls is something that could potentially be considered. Right. This one has caused quite a bit of... I would say that I've seen people questioning Danny Rohl, which for me is like, well, why? If he wants him for a reason. I'm not questioning that, right? 6'5", centre-back. Initial thoughts, Jake?
It's one of the ones where if Danny wants him, you go with it. But my initial thing is 13 games in League One, 2-time for Sheffield United in the Championship, and 6-time for Brentford in the Prem, and 2-time and kind of thing. He's not played a lot of games for whatever reason. He's not played a lot of games last season.
For a 28-year-old as well, we've got to mention that.
He's not played a lot of games. Now, last season he had a personal situation that stopped him. It depends what the deal is. a free agent, if it's free agency, the best thing is that it's just wages. I can't see him wanting a lot of wages. Now, in defense, we don't have cover. Even if he's just a squad player, we don't have cover. Like, our back lineup is Iorfa, potentially Bernard, Femero. If you're thinking
potentially Iorfa. Still.
Yeah, true. So if you say Bernard and Iorfa don't sign, you've got a Wickway and Palmer. That's it.
Yeah. Oh, Famio.
Yeah, but he's technically centre back into good point. But that free, you still need more cover.
Jack, what do you think on Charlie Goode?
See, after like viewing all of the statistics of his appearances and everything and his age, I slightly wonder, was this a player that we may have been going after should we have been relegated, given his playing experience?
Good shout.
And I just wonder if this is what has been put out there as a news story because they can't get any proper news on, there's actually the list that has been dusted off for staying up in the championship. And I just slightly wonder, is this sort of we'll give them that. We'll let that go to the press because that's not someone we're looking at anymore because that's from the League One list that we don't need to bother with anymore. And I just, I don't know. This is what I was wondering about it because you always have to look at that certain
decoy
angle.
story,
a bit
basically.
Of you have to look at those aspects of these stories because it's like, I don't know. Because I just sort of slightly feel like the transfer committee we've got now might be a bit more switched on with that sort of thing. If they want to.
The thing that I've got with that is we're basing it off appearances. Yeah. We're not basing it off what
ability
Danny seems to base his signings off and whatever stats he has and the play style. And if he thinks this player is going to fit his system more so. So let's talk about his career. He started his youth career at Watford, went to Fulham. He was at Fulham's youth academy for 7 years and then went to Harefield. Oh no, he was on loan at Harefield United actually in his youth career as well. He went to Hadley 2013-14, made 4 appearances, 3 goals. Then he went to AFC Hayes. Then he went to Hendon, then Scunthorpe United from 2015 to 2019. Went on Northampton Town for loan for 17 appearances in 2019, and then signed for them permanently for a year, made 36 appearances. That's when he made sort of like the sign. Brentford went, okay, in 2020 we'll sign him. Played 14 times over the course there, only twice for Sheffield United, twice for Blackpool, and 13 times for Wigan Athletic. So he hasn't. I've got to say, if this is legitimate, it must be something in the play style. It must be something that has stuck out to Danny in the way he wants to defend, that he goes, this guy fits my system, even if it's a squad player, because I understand the concern.
You know what I think it is? I think he's a physical player. And if you look at our back line, we don't have much of that. Like, if we're signing 6'5" defenders, dear God, go off on corners this season.
Yeah. Oof.
It's a tricky one because I think you can't question Danny at all. But this would be the one that I'd go, that's interesting. We'll see how that one pans out. There is a reason why you back the manager when he is looking to build something.
It feels straight out like that. You know that Brad Pitt movie, Moneyball? Or is it Brad Pitt? I think it was Brad Pitt. Anyway,
Brad Pitt,
that baseball movie, Moneyball. It feels like
but that's basically what Brentford did.
Yeah,
that's what Brentford did.
Yeah. But he's a 67 rated silver on EA Sports FC, so I thought I'd get that one in there before we finish that one. We're not going to do the evolutions yet because we might not sign him before the game finishes. What'd you say?
I just went, we can Evo him. Oh, I don't know what that means.
Evo?
So Evo, I don't know. Look, it's a buzzword, isn't it? Evo, same thing.
Evo, as in evolution.
As in evolution,
you don't call it. Yeah. No, but I thought evolution and evolution were different. I thought evolution was sort of like something is evolving and evolution is the history of evolution. I thought people said that differently on purpose, or is it just a different way of saying it?
Quick question.
I'm pretty sure the evolution is the American version and the evolution is the God Save the Queen version. I don't know.
Can't remember.
Yeah, that's interesting, actually. That would check out.
I can't remember. Did we speak about Ugbo last episode?
Look at Jake trying to make it topical again. Look at it. Look at that. Look at that little segue.
It's more that I'm noticing I'm having to add stuff to the document with my brain is just remembering my ADHD.
Oh, nice.
Just going there.
What do you mean about him? About the
fact that we're not going to actually be able to get him until after Copa America.
I didn't know that. No.
Right.
Well, I did know that, but I didn't know that in the document, in the podcast.
I'll
You've just made my brain go fry now. Jack's also late, which means I haven't had my lunch. So thanks, Jack.
We were starting at 12 p.m. anyway.
Yes, but we'd have done by now, which means I could go and have my lunch.
Oh, okay.
Just go to the next door. I'll put it in the document.
Yes.
Oh, it's the panic in your eyes, Jack. It's fun.
For God's sake.
Sheffield Wednesday have a link to a Barcelona manager, and Hansi Flick, who has not been able to be registered at Barcelona yet,
funny,
by the way.
Oh my God.
So the Barcelona loans, they're not going to happen, are they? It's just a fun thing to say.
It ain't going to happen. If they can't register, they're going to need all the players they can get from their academy.
They will register him. They'll figure out a way. There's no way they can't have a manager. Is there? Surely. They're a mess, aren't they?
Yep.
But yeah, we'll talk about Ugbo at some point, but Ugbo is going to be somebody we have to wait on. Right, this is a blast from the past. This is from the Star. Sheffield Wednesday make contact over exciting former Celtic attacker. Sheffield Wednesday are believed to have made contact with regards to a potential move for Stadio Brestio. That's wrong. Karamoko Dembele. The 21-year-old has been considered an exciting prospect for a number of years now and made his debut for Scottish giant Celtic at the age of just 16 in 2019. He has represented both England and Scotland at youth level and joined the League One side as free agent in 2022. Things didn't quite work out in his first season in France, and at the start of the 2023-24 campaign, it was decided that he would head out on loan to England, where he would join Blackpool for their hopeful push for promotion. They didn't get it, but Dembele grabbed 21 goals and assists in his 39 games in League One as he lit up the stage for the Tangerines. He won the Junior Seasiders Player of the Season, Players Player of the Season, and Supporters Player of the Season for his efforts, and finished the campaign as one of the most exciting young talents in the division. The Star understands that while still in the early stages, Wednesday have made contact with Brest about the possibility of the young attacker having a step up in divisions next season by joining the Owls on loan. However, it is unknown whether the French outfit are open to him leaving again at this stage. Dembele has a contract with the club until 2026. I wanted this player.
You're smug about this.
Ago.
I was about to say, you're really smug about this. What aren't you, James?
3 years ago, I wanted this player. But it might finally be happening on loan. Jake, go on.
Oh, I really hope we get this player. He's very good. He's been on our radar for a while as a podcast, but it's one of the things. Blackpool loved him. They said he was fantastic, and I think they're gutted that he's going. Yeah, the thing is, we say that loan. Chansiri has come out and said if a player's right, he will bend.
Yeah. And this screams of a right player because if he's not fancied at his main club, yes, he's got a contract till 2026, but he scored 8 goals last season for, that was in the 39 appearances. So goals-wise, you add it up, and he got a lot of assists, right? But he's playing a lot, 39 games at 21 years old.
Yeah,
the right sort of player. I would be a little bit more I would find it unfortunate if it was a loan rather than a permanent signing. But Jack, where would you feel on that? Would you prefer it to be
either scenario? Go get him, because like at the end of this season with the new TV money deal, I think the idea of spending maybe next summer, if we do get him on a season-long loan, might be even greater because, the income will be up for obvious reasons. And I just think it might be more feasible to have him on loan this season, and that way we're not spending loads of money on a player that if it doesn't work out, we've still hampered with him and that transfer fee.
Why don't you do a loan
Jordan
to buy
Rhodes.
option?
Well, yeah, there we go.
You do a loan to buy option. The thing is, if you get him, does that nullify your going after Pervada? Very similar style player in the same position.
No, because I don't think we'd play him as a 10, would we?
We didn't play Pervada really at 10. We stuck him out on the wing.
Yes, but I think Pervada should play the 10.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Same.
So
yeah,
it's one of those where I don't think that's the case. I think you bring this player in and he works with Pervada. If you do play him on the wings, there's 2 wings.
True. I think it's, you look at the players we're being linked with, look at the ages, and in the past we have been linked with over 30 and they've got the experience. The last season we had the experience, we didn't have that energy. And if you're playing high intensive pressing football like Danny does, we need the energy.
Yeah. And to quote the very morally questionable section of Soccer AM, good age that they always used to do, that Jake knows, that he keeps saying that whenever we're linked with a younger player, he always says that. And it casts my mind back to that show every single time. And it just makes me laugh. But I think we need a button to press, and it's just that crowd noise going, good age. All those
it's interesting, isn't it? Because transfer market, I don't think would be a reliable source of information. They've got his market value down as 600k. So I'd pay 600k for him if it was. That's euros as well, by the way. So
also remember, his club that he's at have just qualified for Champions League football, if I'm remembering it correctly. So is he going to be could he be used as like a squad player for them if they're doing Champions League plus league? You don't know.
You mean Brest have qualified for the Champions League? God, they'll be milking that status for all they're worth.
He got 13 assists last season as well, so that's a big side of it, isn't it? You could...
Sorry, I'm clearly just here to derail
bring that
this
in. Just move on! Christ! Learn to flow!
I am an agent of chaos.
You are. The 13 assists, right, are, again, probably not our biggest concern. It's good to have, but for me, it's always been about the people that can finish the goals. Weirdly, it's not our main concern, this position, but you can't pass up on a player like this.
No.
I've wanted him for a very, very long time because I think he would fit what we're trying to do here. For me, he's kind of potentially going to have the excitement that we did when Wilkes had, but potentially with the actual end product.
But actually follow through on the hype. Sorry, Malik. Yes.
I want Wilkes.
I mean, look, we're still yet to... He still could prove himself this season. I don't know if that's copium, massive amounts of copium, or...
Probably is.
Who knows?
He probably will because he's in his last year contract.
Yeah. If he bangs a few goals in, helps us get top 10. We'll take it. But he's 21 years old. He is on FIFA a 65 rated silver with 83 pace, 59 shooting, 58 passing, 70 dribbling, 16 defending, 40 physical. So his evolutions look good as well. I think he's had an evolution that can take him all the way up to an 89 rated. So that's actually not quite high if you've put him in there. Was that his best evolution available, Jake? Because I've let you...
it was.
Okay.
And of course, FIFA ratings being an incredibly reliable source of a player's ability when the player themselves is not.
Jack, you said you watched this podcast before you were on it. do you not understand the whole point of it?
I'm just saying a disclaimer, okay? Because people actually might take the FIFA rating as like the actual what they would do in a Danny system.
Bannon confirmed.
Well, if they do, that's a lot more on them than it is on us.
Guys,
just saying.
Breaking news. Oh my
Liam
God, we've got
Palmer,
breaking news on the episode.
Barry Bannon and Liam Palmer have signed new contracts.
Oh my God. Yes, literally.
Yes.
Right as we're recording this.
Thank God, because they give it. Actually, Jack, if you weren't late, we might have missed that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're welcome. Say no, don't thank me.
Go
Thank
back to the Tesco.
Consider a Tesco truck driver. Yes.
It's so late. It's so new. It's not on the website yet.
It's on the
It's only just been
boys.
tweeted. It's only been tweeted.
We'll move into that topic in a second because that's something we definitely want to talk about. Oh yeah, literally 51 seconds ago.
Yeah.
There's a video at the minute where they're all hugging and everything.
You knew, like, I got told that this will be all sorted.
Yeah, I'm keeping this in, by the way. So do you want that? Is that all right to be in?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, fine. Come on, refresh. I'll keep refreshing and we'll move into just a...
I'll keep refreshing for you. Go in the document.
Yeah, we'll go into the next topic and then we can come back to it because we're still in the same topic. And I'll get this video out today on Barry Bannon and Liam Palmer. I'll get I'll do a breakout before the podcast goes out, which will be good. We used
You'll
to
do a breakout and I'll be doing a video straight as soon as it is done.
Yeah, that's fine, mate. Your video will be out first, but we'll do a breakup. We'll do a breakout later on today.
Why are we breaking up? Why is the podcast
It's
breaking
not
up?
you,
Is
it's
it something Jack said?
It's the week.
No, don't bring the child into this. Now, Jack, which parent would you like to go and live with permanently?
James.
James or James?
I've got two already. I don't need another one.
Oh, no. We do have a cupboard under the stairs. Currently got the fridge in it. You can go in there.
The whiff version of Harry Potter.
Oh, my God.
It's on the website now, mate.
Right, okay, yeah, we'll go into that then. So, some breaking news. We have got our first contract signed of the season. It is Barry Bannon and Liam Palmer. The Sheffield Wednesday website reads as follows. Owls duo extend S6 stay. Barry Bannon and Liam Palmer have agreed new contracts with Wednesday. Both players have proved hugely influential figures at Hillsborough, posting a mammoth 837 appearances in over 2 collective decades at the club. Club captain Barry Bannon and our longest-serving current player Palmer will now extend their S6 stays. Scotland international Bannon joined the Owls on a free transfer in August 2015 and has since featured 402 times in all competitions. Fellow Scotland international Palmer, who signed for Wednesday as a schoolboy to rise through the academy into the first team ranks, has 435 appearances to his name. Both have coveted places in our top 20 appearance makers of all time, Bannon in the 15th slot and Palmer in 8th. The ever-popular duo had major influence on Wednesday's dramatic championship survival and season last time out and follow in the footsteps of manager Danny Rohl, who last week extended his contract at the Hillsborough helm. Good. Starting to come in now. This is what we want to see. We don't know contract details yet. I'm sure they're going to come out. If we were to have a guess, what would we feel on the contract here?
Probably 1 year Barry Bannon so he can do 10 years at the club, and probably 1 year with probably an
it's
option
probably
for Liam
1
Palmer.
year, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's
1 years with options, probably, I'd say.
It's
just absolutely fantastic for the club to be doing the business, really.
Put it this way, if they two are signed, I think you can make a thing saying that Palmer signed and not Palmer, that Iorfa and possibly Windass are signed.
I think the other side of this, I think these two would have signed anyway. No matter what happened, I reckon these two would have signed for Sheffield Wednesday if it was on their decision. So I actually think the other side of that is maybe it's not as positive in that regard in terms of the other players, because these two, why would they go anywhere else?
They went through and through, aren't they?
Yeah. And at the stage of their career, they'll be here probably until they retire. I think
new graphics.
We might hear an announcement from Bannon. If it's a 1 or 2 year, if it's a 2 year deal, he might say he's retiring at the end of it. If it's a 1 year deal, But I think he's on a rolling contract now anyway. So
to quote what he said, the chairman said, "As long as your legs are working, you sign."
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. I'll just never forget when his legs genuinely stopped working in that Wembley game against Barnsley. I don't want to go off, but I'm actually done.
Also, before we go into, I wasn't a big fan of the live tweeting of the Wembley thing. It annoyed me.
Not?
No.
Did it? Did you?
Yeah.
Slightly tin pot, wasn't it? But
yeah,
they'd have done it.
But what it is.
Yeah. I think it's absolutely fantastic. Contract signed. Let's hope there's more to come. Anything to add, Jack?
Well, it's sort of slightly on the topic of the Wembley live tweeting. I think if they were going to do that, they should have announced Windass and a new contract at the end of it.
That's a good point.
It would have been a very good marketing thing to say, oh, look, he scored this amazing goal that was offside, but we can now announce that Will Vaulks has signed a new deal or whatever. And then
that would have been really funny,
and then the
actually.
Wembley hero, Josh Windass, has also signed a deal when it does the goal.
You could have quite literally gone, he got the goal, but it didn't count, but this contract does.
Yes. Yeah, something like that, you know? Like, come on, Wednesday marketing department. Come on. Up your game, lads. And lasses and everyone else that may work there. I don't know who actually works there.
I think it's going to be an interesting week next week in Sheffield Wednesday World.
Busy.
And we'll be there around it. But Liam Palmer, Barry Bannon, the first ones to sign contracts. Okay, moving on to another player that could be linked with, is linked with Sheffield Wednesday. This is from the Star. We're going to quote the Star probably a lot because I think they're one of the only ones left that
they're the only paper really now.
Yeah.
We'll be quoting the Star that many times, it'll be a whole galaxy by the end of the episode.
Ex-Arsenal, Liverpool, Sunderland and Rangers man an option for Sheffield Wednesday has trained at the club. Former Arsenal and Liverpool youth prospect is being weighed up as a potential summer transfer option at Sheffield Wednesday. The Star understands the Elves are heading into what seems to be a busy. I won't read that. I will give something to the article there. The Star understands that free agent Ovie Ejaria is a player of potential interest to Wednesday, having been weighed up by the Owls in the last months. It is understood that the 26-year-old spent time training with the club towards the back end of their survival campaign after the registration deadline, with a view to possibly signing ahead of the 2024-25 season. It remains to be seen whether that interest will be revisited. So, this could be a punt article in terms of, we've heard he's been training actually. Will he sign? But do you think we'll go in for him, Jake?
I think it makes sense to go in for him, because at the end of the day, if he's already been at the club training at the back end, you already know what the club mentality is. And you don't have to sell the club to him. He can see what happened behind the scenes and then saw what it was on the pitch. I think it makes a lot of sense. Free agent, you would only have to do wages for it. It gives us that extra bit of weight we need kind of thing, because we are light in midfield. Yet he hasn't had a club since January, since leaving Reading, and a lot of reasons why he left Reading, not really going to go into them, but you all know what Reading's situation is, kind of thing. But it makes a lot of sense. So it'll be interesting to see if we go through with this one. We did say that a lot of free agents and loans will come in. And if we're going to do free agency, we have to be quick, because there'll be a lot. Yes. There's a lot of decent players out there at the minute who are free agents who are very good. So if we want them, we need to be done the next 2 weeks.
Jack, I'm going to hand this over to you, but before I do, you 100% have signed him on Football Manager at some point, haven't you?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah, because I have as well.
I know of him quite a bit because Reading has always been a club that I've followed a bit through familial connections, so I know of him very well anyway. But yeah, sorry, you were going to do something before you handed over the opinion bit. Yeah, basically, to put it in perspective of comparing it to a player that we've already had, he is everything that Tariq Backinson should have been. His work rate, his long-range ability, his dribbling ability, he's absolutely everything that Tariq Backinson should have offered us and didn't. And I just think it's an absolute no-brainer because when Reading were still in the Championship and battling against relegation, even under Jaap Stam when they were fighting for promotion and lost to Huddersfield in the playoff final a few years ago, literally he was carrying Reading on his back. He was that much of an influential player for them. And I can only imagine that it will have been down to him personally with not signing at the end of his Plymouth trial rather than the other way round. And I just think it's it's just a note. Sign him, for God's sake, sign him. He's very good.
I'd be up for this as well because I feel like the Reading thing might have been a financial thing in terms of
it definitely was.
He's more. Would you say then, if you've got some Reading experience with him, it'd be interesting for Reading fans to let us know in the comments? Or would you say he's more central because he's pinned as a left midfielder, but I know he does play in. He can play in that 10 and he plays centrally as well. So it's a case of, would you say that we'd be looking for him in the centre of midfield, which to me would make sense? He's that technical player. And he's probably more.
Him and Poveda could probably swap positions rather than swap injuries. Him and Poveda could probably swap positions like from the wing into the.
Is he more of a Poveda than a Barry Bannon then?
No, he's more of a box to box playmaker, sort of Barry Bannon-esque, like Barry Bannon when he was 26. Rather than
this
Barry
is my
Bannon
thought process. Are we now looking for the Barry Bannon replacement? Jake?
Probably.
Yes, 100%. We've been looking for the last 4 years of fans because we're going to hit a period that Liverpool hit when they lost Steven Gerrard, where they're going to have that missing link in midfield. And we need to start finding that missing link for when Barry Bannon does eventually retire.
Well, his career, it's a no-brainer for me. Yes, he's not played, but he's been training with us. He's 26 years old. His youth career was at Arsenal. He was there for 9 years, and then he was at Liverpool for 2 years. And he actually was with the Liverpool senior team, making 2 appearances in 4 years. But during all of that, he went on loan to Sunderland in 2018, 11 appearances, 1 goal. Rangers in the other half of 2018, 14 appearances, 1 goal. Then 2019-20, he went on loan to Reading, where he made 52 appearances and 4 goals. And then, since then, he signed for Reading, made 72 appearances overall. I just think that this makes sense. He's a great age. For me, it's the Byers situation all over again.
Yeah.
But this is going to be coming in with Danny. He's 6 foot, which means he's got good presence in that midfield. He's not... It's a case of like, he'll be able to get on headers and things like that. But he's not so big that you'd expect him to be that hybrid between Barry Bannon and someone like a towering midfielder. That's really bad punditry there, but there we go.
And just to add a bit more context to the injury situation that he had at Reading, they literally could not afford to pay a medical team. So a player went out injured, they were like gone for so long. Just look at Lucas João when he got injured for Reading. He was gone for like a whole season over what would normally be like 2 months to get over, and then you're back if you had a medical team with you. That's literally why he had such a bad injury stint at Reading towards the end. Because they didn't.
This is the player on the list of linked players that does really excite me, actually, because for me, he is the safer bet, and he's in that middle of he's in that market where it's a player that had a high ceiling, right? Apparently, if you look at his old market values, he's currently at around €800,000. If you're looking at Transfer Market again, we wouldn't say it's the most reliable place, but to be honest, they are pretty spot on sometimes. But his highest market value in 2020, people were putting a valuation of him on of like 4 million. Because if you actually look at his transfer history, he went to Reading from Liverpool for £3.9 million.
Exactly.
And he's a free transfer. It makes sense. Do it Wednesday. I would love to see this player here. I genuinely would, because I play video games a lot. And have you seen the card he could have got? He could be a 93 rated, boys. Not EAFC. 93 rated left midfielder. His actual base card is prime for us. He'd be one of our better base cards because he's a 69 rated silver with plenty of options there. The one thing I like about him, guys, and you'll be able to use him in career mode if you've been watching my career mode. He's got finesse shot, technical flair, and first touch. He's got play styles. He's a player that will work. 69 rated left midfielder, 60 pace, 61 shooting, 67 passing, 78 dribbling, 64 defending, and 63 physical. But them evolutions there, just like looking at the one you put in there, Jake, the 93 with the team of the season thing, just 79 pace is not great, but pretty much 90 passing, 95 dribbling. There's a lot there. So if you like video games, Ejaria would also be a player to have a look there. But in terms of real life, I think we are starting to look for that Barry Bannon replacement. Could he be that? It's big. They said it's big boots to fill. Might be big boots to fill. Small stature to fill, blessed. But it's definitely in terms of importance to Sheffield Wednesday, we need to start looking in that midfield position. And his versatility will help us there. Let's see what happens. We've got another transfer speculation story, guys. It doesn't stop today.
I also want to just add on this one before you start.
Do I need to read the article first?
Yes. Read the article first, and then I will put in what I need.
Reading articles rather than just the headline and or the thumbnail if it's a video. Nobody does that anymore, Jake.
No, I will know in the comments to these breakouts, somebody will have just read the headline and answered the headline rather than watching the video. And I'm like, it's not a tweet. Yep. It's a video that's got content in it. But yes, this is from The Standard. Arsenal face transfer decision over Mika Biereth as summer transfer interest mounts. Arsenal will hold talks with Sturm Graz this week as the Austrian club push to sign Mika Biereth on a permanent deal. The striker has spent the second half of the season on loan at Sturm Graz and has been impressed during his time there. Biereth has scored 9 goals and laid on 4 assists, prompting the Austrian club to want to sign him permanently. Arsenal now have a decision to make as Biereth has just 1 year left on his contract this summer. The 21-year-old has proved to be a prolific goal scorer at youth level, but has not made a senior debut for Arsenal. Sturm Graz will face competition for Biereth's signature from championship clubs, including Sheffield Wednesday. The Owls wanted to sign the striker back in January, but Sturm Graz won the race as they were able to offer European football. Biereth has been at Arsenal since 2021 when they signed him from Fulham. He was a prolific goal scorer for the under-18, scoring 21 goals in as many games for the final season. Say what you're going to say, Jake, and then we'll talk about whether Wednesday could actually be in for to beat them to his signature here.
So if you want him as a permanent player, it's about £6 million.
Jesus Christ!
Apparently, it's about £6 million is what it is.
So that's not
which in
going to happen.
euros is 7 million. The thing is, we say that, but remember, the deals are not given like the money up front. If you put a payment structure like installments, it all depends. And I think they've got Champions League football next season. I am more likely going to say that he's probably going there. But we've seen in the past where deals are meant to go there and then it doesn't happen, then they change to where they're going to go. Look at us in the summer with the Charlton midfielder now. It was all set for him to come here and then it turned on its head. It's one that I would definitely still look at if we can, but it all depends on what Arsenal want to do because apparently going on Arsenal pre-season tour of America.
They'll be having a look at him, yeah. Jack, what do you think on Mika Biereth? I'm probably saying that wrong.
I've actually looked at his highlights to stuff on YouTube, and he's very, very, very similar to the American guy that we almost lost out on.
Who we were only going to pay, I think, 2 something million for. Yep. So this is why, if that is the valuation, it have to be a transfer. I don't think this one's happening.
No. Only works if it's a loan for me.
But if he is, that makes sense because it's showing what Danny wants in a striker.
Yeah.
I can see why his valuation's up there, though, because if you look at his actual stature and his age, he's 6'2" for a striker at 21 years old, and he's got experience, and he seems to be that sort of player that has potential. He's only made 13 appearances in 23 for RKC Waalwijk, 15 for Motherwell, but he scored 6 goals for Motherwell. And then what he's done this season for Sturm Graz, 18 appearances and 9 goals in those appearances. So he's coming into form at 21 years old. It's really good. Yeah.
It's a good ratio back in it.
Yeah. He's been likened to Jamie Vardy in his aggression. and he's just a traditional sort of number 9 for us. So I wouldn't pay 6 million for him because I don't think we should be spending 6 million on any player. I genuinely don't. But then again, if it's a plan, that's the thing where the 6 million comes in, innit?
I think it's probably PTSD from certain other players that were costing a lot of money and didn't deliver at all on that price tag.
But it does put the pressure on him to then perform as well, doesn't it? But I think it makes more sense for him to go to Sturm Graz, especially if they did get Champions League. Sorry, not Champions League or European football or whatever it is.
No, I think they have got Champions League.
Is it Champions League? Yeah.
Yeah.
So that would be the bet because it puts him in the shop window for other clubs to look at as well. So I think that's probably what will happen. But I wouldn't be right. If Danny said, I really want this player, I'll spend 6 million on it. It fits in the budget. I will spend 6 million of the budget you're going to give me for this player. I'll 100% trust him.
Hang on, though. Right?
Okay.
You've got the thing. If we want Ugbo, you're looking about 4 million, maybe 5 million.
I don't think it is. I think we don't pay more than 4 for Ugbo. I thought we'd pay the Duncan Maguire money for him, to be honest. Because the thing is, you're going to have the player pushing the move as well.
Yeah. It all depends. It all depends on what that club want to do, considering they've just been relegated.
I reckon the price tag's definitely gone up a little bit just because we're an English club as well. Like, don't forget that aspect of it too.
I think Chansiri needs to say nothing about what he wants to spend again. We don't want to hear it. We don't want to hear he's got this pot of money to spend. Just be quiet and make the business. You can undisclose the fees, and then after the transfer window, for sure they can leak to the press. He
hasn't done that in a while. People said, I want to know what the budget is. I don't. The last thing you want to do is tell a club how much money you've got. That's why Middlesbrough pulled our pants down. They knew what we had.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I guess I'd be more happy to spend this on a player than spend £10 million on Jordan Rhodes. And yes, I have been scarred forever on that. But he would be awful on EAFC as a 62 rated bronze card. I'm sure he'll get an upgrade, but he's 73 passes, 61 shooting, 73 pace, 61 passing, 61 shooting, 48 passing, 60 dribbling, 29 defending, and 69 physical.
James needs to go get some food. He's forgotten how to talk.
I have, yes. But in terms of a real life player, I'm not paying 6 million for him. If say our budget's 10 million, I'm not spending 6 of it on one player.
No.
And that's if our budget's 10 million, which, let's be honest, it's probably not. Be interested to know what our budget is. But let us know what you think about Mika Biereth and the likelihood of signing for Sheffield Wednesday in the comments. And if you're a Sturm Graz, I've forgot the club's name. If you're one of those fans and this is a breakout and you're coming back when he signs for you and you comment, no, he's come to our club, please look at the date when this video was from, because it was from before he came to your club. It happens all the time. But yeah, let's see what happens with that one. Oh, a lot of transfers. Any more?
That's it.
That's it for now.
Yep.
Oh, you mean there's no more transfer speculation? Thank God. I just wanted to report on the actual news, even though none of it's coming out.
Well, it did. We got Bannon and Palmer for another year.
And Barry Bannon's just put on his Twitter, time to write another chapter for this amazing club.
Yep.
Oh,
which is lovely.
It is.
I'm excited for this week, boys. Going into it, see what happens with the club.
Definitely.
See who we sign. But let's wrap this podcast up. We've been going quite a while. So, have you got anything to add this week, Jack?
No, not really. No, I don't think so. I'm just eagerly anticipating whatever the hell we do next.
We all are on that, mate.
Yeah.
Jake?
Put notification bells on all things on the channel and on Twitter stuff, because it'll be the best place to get it.
And subscribe, by the way. We've got like 52% not subscribed that watch the channel. Not impressed. Sort it out.
However, many of them may think, oh, there's a subscribe button. That means I have to pay to watch this. So I'll just put it
That's
in my
true.
Google Chrome bookmarks.
That is true, actually, because
That is true.
my demographics
I know that
raised a
from
bit. I've got
experience.
20% over 65 now. So, yes. Subscribe doesn't mean you have to pay. Join
It's
means
free.
you have to pay, but it won't.
Yes.
You can do that below. Subscribe is free. It just helps us out in terms of the algorithm. Liking does also really help us out in terms of the algorithm. So please do that if you watch the podcast every week. But for now, guys, that is all I've got for this week's episode of the Talking Wednesday podcast. Take care, and we will see you in the next episode of Talking Wednesday.
See ya.
Auf Wiedersehen, Kameraden.